Welcome back, everybody. Shalom alochen. Thanks for coming. In the previous episode, we explored how the ancient world of Mesopotamia, Mat Ashur, was far more unified than modern labels suggest. Language, culture, and sacred ideas flowed across regions, forming a shared civilizational world that shaped history for thousands of years. But continuity alone raises a deeper question. If this world was unified, and if its languages evolved rather than disappeared, then who today still carries a living relationship with those ancient words? Much of what we know about ancient texts today comes through reconstruction. Scholars piece together meanings from inscriptions, manuscripts, and comparative studies. This work is valuable and necessary, but reconstruction has limits. A reconstructed language is studied. A living language is experienced. Tone, idiom, rhythm, and inherited meaning are often invisible on the page, but obvious to those who speak the language naturally. Many words found in biblical texts belong to a broader Semitic linguistic world that once stretched across Mesopotamia, Mat Ashur. Over time, as languages evolved and communities disappeared or were displaced, some of these words became difficult to interpret with certainty. This is why modern translation often include footnotes, meaning uncertain, possible reading, traditionally understood as. But for Assyrians, many of these words were never lost. They survived in daily speech, prayer, and tradition, passed down not through textbooks, but through families and communities. Assyrians today speak dialects that preserve ancient structures, roots, and conceptual patterns. This does not mean modern Assyrians speak the Bible word for word as it was written. Languages always change, but it does mean that many biblical expressions are still intuitively understood with Assyrian linguistic thought. What appears ambiguous in reconstructed Hebrew often becomes clearer when viewed through the lens of a living Semitic language tradition. Let's remember, the Hebrew language, which was created around 1300 BC, was a dead language up until 200 years ago, when it was reconstructed using the living forms of the Assyrian language we know of today. This perspective is not a replacement for scholarship, but it's a missing partner. Despite this, Assyrian voices have rarely been invited into formal discussions of biblical language and interpretation. Part of this is historical. Empires rose and fell, communities were displaced, languages were renamed, reclassified, or even forgotten. Over time, the people who preserved these linguistic traditions were separated from the texts they helped illuminate. The result is not malicious, but it is incomplete. And I really hope it's not malicious. Including Assyrian perspectives in biblical studies is not about claiming authority over others. It's about restoring continuity between text and lived language. When a living tradition is allowed to speak alongside academic reconstruction, meaning becomes richer, not narrower. This approach honors both scholarship and heritage, analysis and memory. The Assyrian contribution to theology and biblical understanding has never truly disappeared. It has waited quietly with language, tradition, and community. Recognizing this contribution is not only an academic correction, it is an act of historical honesty. In the final episode of this series, we will explore why this matters today, for scholarship, for faith, and for the future of Assyrian identity. I really appreciate everyone listening and tuning in. Pushim Shena, Chaya, Ashur Chaya.